I'm going to do something that I almost never do. This is very rare. I am going to allow myself to be happy about this game tonight. This is a feel-good game for a Sens fan for one reason in particular, and that is a man by the name of Linus Ullmark. Yes, he made his return tonight, and he looked fantastic. He was pretty darn close to posting a shutout tonight. And the one goal he let in, you can't really blame him that much on it. So, yes, I am going to allow myself to just enjoy this night. It's the last home game for the Sens until after the Olympic break, so they're not going to be playing back at home again for almost a month, which is weird to say, but yeah, this is you have to feel good about this if you're a Sens fan. So, Game 54 of the season was played on Saturday, January 31st against the New Jersey Devils, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Start Time. This was the second meeting of the season between these two teams. So the Devils won 4-3 back in Ottawa on December 9th. So the Sens get their revenge tonight. So starting goaltenders, Jake Allen for the Devils and Linus Ullmark making his first start since before he took his leave of absence, and I'll talk about that more in a minute. So the Sens were 25, 21, and 7 coming into tonight, and the Devils were 28, 24, and 2 coming into tonight. And the Devils were missing arguably, or maybe not arguably, their top player in Jack Hughes. So that's a big loss for them. But this game, dude, just the crowd was cheering more than they normally would for every time Ullmark made a save. Like, everybody is behind him. I'm rooting for him, obviously. Just I've always been a fan of him, but ever since the interview came out and all the info and all that, it's kind of hard not to root for him. So this is it's just a feel-good game, and for us Sens fans, it feels like we haven't really had too many of those this season. So my advice to you, if you're a Sens fan, let's just enjoy this one, because they've won 3 in a row. On top of that, you got the dominant win against Vegas 7-1, and then the very impressive victory against Colorado 5-2, and now this tonight 4-1 against the Devils. But I'm just mainly happy for Ullmark. This was great. Alright, so let's go ahead and break down tonight's game and get into the stats. So the Sens beat the New Jersey Devils by a score of 4-1. The Devils are now 28, 25, and 2 on the season. The Sens are 26, 21, and 7. And as mentioned, they have won 3 in a row. 3 very impressive victories too. So there's two big stats that stand out tonight. You might be looking at them right now, and one of them blows my mind, which I'll get to in a second. So, the shots, 34-27 in favor of the Sens. Face-offs, again, it feels like they've been struggling a bit more in the dot lately, but it didn't hurt them tonight. 56.7% for the Devils, 43.3% for the Sens. This here, check this out. Your eyes are not deceiving you. The Devils, 0 for 5 on their power play. The Sens, 2 for 3 on their power play. So the 2 for 3 on the power play, that's great. That's fantastic. But the Sens went 5 for 5 on their penalty kill. Are you kidding me? When was the last time they did that? It definitely has not happened this season. There's no way. That's insane. I don't even know what to say about that. I'm not used to seeing that from this team. So that really jumps out at me. Special teams and Ullmark played great tonight. Those are the two big factors for me. So penalty minutes, 8 for the Devils, 12 for the Sens. Hits were 24-22 in favor of the Sens. Block shots, the Sens are blocking a lot tonight, 19-10 in favor of the Sens. Both teams had 17 giveaways, and the takeaways were 7-5 in favor of the Sens. So these two teams will not meet again for a little while, not till April 12th, and that'll be in New Jersey. So we will go ahead and run through the notes here. So right off the bat, first thing I have in my notes, the crowd is cheering way more than they normally would for a save. Every single time Ullmark made a save, the crowd is just cheering louder than they normally would, and we're all behind him. Like, again, it's impossible to not root for him if you know the entire situation and everything. So he had a pretty darn close to perfect night tonight. So um, bit of a slow pace at the start of the game here. There's a lot of icings. There isn't really anything going on at first. So Shabbat would make he would go for a fancy behind the back pass, and I'm just like, there's no reason for this. He ends up giving this away, and this would lead to a huge save by Allmark. I'm like, I don't know what Shabbat's doing. I'll talk about him again later on. He did end up leaving this game in the second period, pretty sure it was. But yeah, right away, big save by Allmark. So Sanderson would have the puck in the corner and he would fall on his own. Um, he would turn the puck over because of that, and this ends up being another big save for Allmark. So we're like a few minutes into the game here, and I'm like, is this how it's gonna go tonight? Like, really? Like, Allmark's playing his first game in like a month, and this is what we're doing? It didn't look great at the start, to be honest. So the shots are 5-1 New Jersey 6 minutes into the game. So it didn't look great for the Sens at the beginning. So Clevin would take a high sticking penalty, and the Sens would kill it off. I still cannot get over how they went 5 for 5. I'm probably going to say that a lot in this video. So really nothing going on in that power play. Easy kill for the Sens. So Zetterlund would have a good chance in front. He was stopped. And then Giroux would take a slashing penalty. This was kind of a weak call. But you know how slashing penalties work, right? If you slash a guy's stick and the stick breaks, it's an automatic penalty, which I've never agreed with. It was kind of a weak slash, but it's if the stick doesn't break, then it's not a penalty, but it was. And in my mind, I'm just thinking, like, they didn't take a single minor penalty against Colorado in the last game, and I'm like, okay, well, they're making up for it tonight. But, of course, the Sens do kill that off as well. So then Pesci would take a tripping penalty, so the Sens go to their first power play. And then Batherson on the power play would send it over to Tkachuk, and he would score on the power play. So the captain, Brady Tkachuk, scoring his 14th of the season from Batherson and Stützle. And yes, once again, wearing the Stützle jersey. This is pretty much the only one I wear nowadays. So the Sens go up 1-0, and I'm like, wow, okay. So the Sens are 1 for 1 on their power play, and they're 2 for 2 on their penalty kill. This is great. Like, 200% special teams? Hello? So it's a 1-0 lead for the Sens. So Allmark would make a nice save off a deflection. Good chance there for the Devils. And I have in my notes here, he is looking very sharp to start this one. And, well, I might have jinxed him by saying this, because there was a scramble around the Ottawa net. 4 Sens are all back. They're all around the net, but they're kind of standing around, not really moving a whole lot, and the Devils would score. But, like, I don't know. Can't really blame Allmark too much. It's the only goal that he let in, so it's like, what are you gonna do? Just the team kind of stopped playing there on that play. So Meyer would end up scoring his 14th of the season from Glass and Brown at the 18-16 mark, and this would tie the game at 1. So I still felt like they were playing pretty decent. Like, it's just, I don't know what the heck happened on this play. Just nobody was skating, and that would end up tying the game. So the shots in the first period end up being 11-9 in favor of the Devils, but I still think it was a decent period for the Sens. Not bad. So we head into the first intermission. We're tied 1-1, so feeling okay. So rolling into the second period here, Pinto would have a great chance from the slot, but he was stopped. That was a big save by Allen there. And then Kovacevic back the other way, he would get a good chance from the slot, and he was also stopped. And then after that, there was like nothing. This is kind of weird. There was nothing going on. It was a sleepy-ish start to this period. Not a lot of great chances for either team outside of those two that I mentioned. And at one point in time, we played about 7 minutes without a whistle, but neither team was really getting any chances during that entire time. So I don't know. I didn't really know how to feel about it. So Dylan Cousins would get called for elbowing, and this didn't look like elbowing to me. I don't know. I never really got a good look at it. I was watching this on Sportsnet, so um, yeah, this didn't look like a penalty to me either. But in my mind, again, I'm thinking like, well, they're making up for what they didn't call in the last game against Colorado. So whatever the case, the Devils do go back to the power play, and the Sens do kill it off again. So he sure did have a good chance in front, all alone in front on that power play. That was stopped by Allmark. And then I forgot to mention this as well. So on this penalty kill, Sanderson would send Stutzla in all alone, but he would actually miss the net there. Um, Basically a breakaway for him, but he missed the net. So yeah, they do kill it off. And in my notes, I have 3 for 3 on the penalty kill. The Sens. That what? I couldn't believe it. So after that, Sanderson would drive the net and he would draw a slashing penalty. There's a lot of penalties tonight. So um, the Devils do kill that off. Sens don't really get anything going on that power play. So then Allmark would make a huge glove save on Hamilton. This was a big one by Allmark. And then Sanderson would have a one-timer go off the post. So close call there. Sens start to press a little bit and they get some good chances, but they just can't finish. And I wasn't feeling great at this point because I'm like, they're getting their chances, but they're not finishing. We know what this means. So I thought this was a good period for the Sens, but they just have to finish. So the shots in that second period end up being 12-7 in favor of the Sens. So pretty good period, only allowing 7 shots, no goals. It's not too bad. And you're 3 for 3 on your penalty kill at this point. So we roll on to the third period, and it starts off really good if you're a Sens fan. 18 seconds in, Siegenthaler would take a holding penalty, so the Sens go back to the power play. And 37 seconds into the third period, Dylan Cousins would score on the power play, his 18th of the season, from Tkachuk and Sanderson, and this would put them up 2-1. So this is just insane. Like the special teams were just on another level tonight. I know we're not going to get this every single night, but this was extremely refreshing to see. So, on this goal as well, this was the 100th goal of Dylan Cousins' career, so congrats to him on that milestone. So, Shabbat would end up taking a tripping penalty. This was kind of a weird play too. I don't know if he actually tripped the Devils player, but this was a weird play. I said Shabbat left in the second period. It was the third period because on this play he ended up hurting himself. I don't know what it was exactly, but he left the game. He did not return. So hopefully it's just precautionary. Hopefully nothing serious. But the Sens, that this is part of the reason why this is an impressive win. They played most of the third period with 5 defensemen. So, yeah, so the Sens are shorthanded again for the 4th time in the game, and they kill it off. They are 4 for 4 on the penalty kill. So I'm like, this ain't real. That really? The Sens 4 for 4 on their penalty kill? What the heck am I watching? What is this? So the teams start to trade chances a little bit. They go back and forth. And then Sanderson would make a heck of a defensive play. He would just race back to basically stop a potential breakaway for the Devils. Didn't put down who it was. I think it might have been Cotter who had the possible breakaway. But Sanderson, this guy can fly. We all know that. So heck of a play by him. And then one-timer by Stutzla was stopped. And then a wide open net on a rebound. Giroux, he had it, but he was actually tied up, or else that would have been 3-1 for sure, easily. So there was a scrum around the Devils' net, and the Sens are starting to take over this game a little bit. So they're getting good chances, but again, they're not finishing enough for my liking at this point. So there was a 2-on-1 for the Devils, but he does shoot, but he was stopped. That's another big save by Allmark, and there were a lot of shots tonight that I feel like normally would have went in before, but they didn't tonight. So after that, Nick Cousins would have a partial breakaway, but he was stopped. And there were a lot of icings tonight, especially earlier on in the game, mainly by the Devils, it feels like. And maybe it's just me, but it felt like the teams were icing the puck a lot tonight. So, Stützle would have a great chance on a rebound, but he would miss a wide open net. So, after this and the Giroux chance, I'm like, okay, they're going to blow this. They're going to. I know it's a terrible way to think, but given what this team has done in the past, I don't really blame myself for thinking that way. But it just kind of felt like this game was going to be tied soon. So then Clevin would take an interference penalty, and the Devils would score here, but this would end up getting reviewed. Because what happened was Brown, for the Devils, he reached up, he grabbed the puck, and he kind of went like this, and then he threw it, and then it hit his stick and it went in the net, which of course you can't do because you're not allowed to throw the puck. So what happened here was they called it a good goal on the ice, but then Ottawa would challenge this for him throwing the puck. But the way the ref explained it, though, it was kind of weird. It's like, I forget exactly what he said. It's like a deflection off a stick, or I forget what he said. But um, in my opinion, I think just you're not allowed to throw the puck, right? So I'm thinking that this shouldn't count, right? And it does not count. It gets waved off. So I'm like, holy cow, this team is actually getting lucky breaks when it felt like everything was going against this team before. So the goal does get waved off, and it stays, well, 2-1 at this point. So the Sens, so they're still shorthanded at this point. They do kill off that penalty, and they go 5 for 5 on the penalty kill. And we need to do a fact check on that. Like, when was the last time they went 5 for 5 on their penalty kill? Like, are you kidding me? That's just insane. So there was a 2-on-1 for the Sens, and Stützle, this was kind of a weird play. He gets it to go in somehow. Like the Devils player kind of swatted away, like hit the puck, and then it went off Stützle, went in the net. It was kind of a weird play, but it does go in. So Stützle scores his 25th of the season at the 17:53 mark from Tkachuk and Giroux, and this would put the Sens up 3-1. So this is also kind of weird because like right around this time, this would be when the Sens would allow a goal, but now they get one themselves. So it's just really refreshing to see. So the Devils would pull Allen for the extra attacker with about 2 minutes left or so, and then creates an empty netter, of course, and Pinto would end up scoring the empty netter at the 18:41 mark from Amadio and Sanderson, his 15th of the season. This would make it 4-1 Sens, and of course that ends up being your final. So, you know what's really great about this game? The first star of the game, guess who it is? It is Linus Ullmark with a .963 save percentage. I need to do some fact checking on this too, but that I would not be surprised if that's his best save percentage in a game this season. It might be. I wouldn't be surprised. Second star of the game was the captain Tkachuk. He had a goal and 2 assists. And third star of the game was Stützle with a goal and an assist. Also didn't mention the shots in that third period end up being 13-9 for the Sens. So they outshoot the Devils 25-16 in the second and third period. So yeah, this was just a solid win tonight. The one goal that went in, again, you can't really blame Ullmark on that. I don't know what the team was doing on that play. It's just they kind of stopped skating for a little bit there, but that is what it is, right? So we will go through the box score here. So looking at the forwards, Tkachuk, as mentioned, had a goal and 2 assists. Stützle with a goal and an assist. So we've also got Pinto, Dylan Cousins with a goal. And we got Batherson, Amadio, and Giroux with an assist. And for plus minus, Dylan Cousins ends up being a -1, which is kind of weird to see, but there were a couple of power play goals. And of course, you don't get a plus for being on the ice for a power play goal. So Giroux, Amadio, Stützle, and Pinto were all +1. Ice time leader was Stützle with 2027. Actually, Amadio was right behind him at 2025, second most. That's interesting to see. Okay, so shots, Stützle had the most with 5. And Nick Cousins and Eller each had 2 blocks, which led the forwards. And for hits, a lot of guys had 2 hits, which was the most for forwards. So Greg, Dylan Cousins, and Nick Cousins, Zetterlund, Kachuk, they all had 2 hits. And getting into the defense stats, Sanderson had 2 assists. And plus minus, Zub and Sanderson were +2. Chabot was a -1. Jensen was -1. And time on ice leader was, of course, Sanderson with 26.09. And Clevin had 5 shots, apparently. Wow. Didn't even realize that till now. So that led the defense, of course. Jensen led the defense in blocks with 4. And the most hits was Clevin with 3. And as mentioned, Ullmark stops 26 out of 27 for the .963 save percentage. And again, I'm going to allow myself to feel good about this one. Just be happy after a game for once, because, like, obviously I was happy after the Vegas game and the Colorado game because the Sens win, right? But at the same time, I'm like, well, I don't want to get my hopes up too much, and that's not what I'm saying right now. I'm not getting my hopes up too much, but because there's still quite a ways out of it. But it's hard not to feel good about this one, especially for Ullmark, just coming back in, posting a near shutout tonight against a team who is, I mean, they've been doing well lately in the Devils. Like, just looking at the standings right now, they're 6-4 in their last 10. Like, they are near the bottom of the Eastern Conference, but we're in a league now where anybody can beat anybody. But yeah, this just feels really good. So the Sens they've won 3 in a row now, and I mean, it's still a logjam in the Eastern Conference. They are 8 points out of a playoff spot. Um, Still very unlikely that they pull this off, but maybe. I'm trying to be positive here, which is hard for me to do. So, moving forward here, the Sens' next game will be on Monday, February 2nd, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Start Time in Pittsburgh to take on the Penguins. So, as mentioned, this was their final home game of, I was going to say of the season, final home game before the Olympic break, so they're not back at home until, I can look at it right here, the 26th of February against the Red Wings, so not for a while. They've got 3 games left before the Olympic break. They are all on the road, so Monday in Pittsburgh, Tuesday in Carolina, and Thursday in Philadelphia, so 3 road games and 4 nights to head into the Olympic break. And I do plan to do a watch party for all 3 of those games, so maybe I'll see you at one of those watch parties. And of course, that does include the Pittsburgh game, so yes, there will be a watch party for that game. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So the Sens pull off the win, 4-1 over the Devils, and they have won 3 in a row. And you gotta love this. The special teams too, man, going for 5 for 5 on the penalty kill. 2 for 3 on the power play. That's 166% combined on your special teams. That's pretty good. Let's see more of that, please. But yes, I'm going to wrap it up here, guys. Big win for the Sens, and yeah, we'll see what they can do on Monday in Pittsburgh. But I'm going to wrap it up here, guys. Thank you all so much for watching, and go Sens go.